Good morning everyone. In this video I'm going to be analysing the live price action for EU and DXY to see what opportunities are available today. You're going to see my strategy and my analysis, so if you're interested in those then please stick around. Alright, starting off on the daily, EU's on the top and DXY is on the bottom. So what does the daily show us? Well, previous day, yesterday on Tuesday, we've closed out as this bearish doji high test after taking the previous weekly high. So we've mitigated that buy side liquidity above these highs here, which caused price to reverse and close out. Inversely, the same happened on DXY now. So we've got that low test bullish candle. So the question is now, is price going to continue going lower, right? Have we taken enough buy side liquidity? Are we going to leave this high behind here and continue with some bearish price? Now today we've opened up bearish again still. So this is probably going on from yesterday evening into today. We've had some bearish push. At the moment we're pulling back, so we'll see more on a lower time frame. We've taken that previous daily low out already for that sell side liquidity and the previous daily high out on DXY. So nothing else to discuss on the higher time frame. So let's go down to the 4 hour and see what that shows. So looking at this 4 hour price action, it's not the clearest at the moment if we're just analyzing this price, but let's look at the bigger picture. Again, we have our bullish leg, it's still intact. We have come up and swept buy side liquidity from above these previous highs and rejected that. We've come off bearish since then. Now what I would want to point out is that everything's mitigated in this area here, on the 4 hour at least, and also I don't see any imbalances here on the 4 hour in this new price action into today. So what we still do have is the price draws below here. We are in a bit of a confusing picture in the sense that, of course, from a discount and that daily imbalance, we did break above and create some internal structure. We've got a new higher high as opposed to these highs or the previous high. Now we could treat this here as the entire leg and we've just come and swept above it, so I haven't closed beyond it yet. But either way, not to confuse too much, we have the price draws below here if price is coming back down to a discount, right? Whether that's to continue lower or just to mitigate this 4 hour imbalance and then continue higher. So we've taken buy side liquidity on a high time frame. So that's one important thing to note. We have some more discount POI price draws on the higher time frame as well, where there'll be sell side liquidity in these POIs and below these lows. So it's reasonable to argue, just looking at the 4 hour, that we've taken buy side liquidity, we may aim for some sell side liquidity POIs down here. The same is present, of course, on DXY, which is the inverse. We've taken that previous weekly low. We have had some sort of bullish response from there. We do have more POIs available in this premium. There may be some small imbalances though on DXY within this area to pull back to, but we have the same price draws above in price as well. So after taking sell side liquidity, we may head for some buy side liquidity POIs or this previous weekly high, right? So that's just a picture from the 4 hour. That's my main takeaways: buy side liquidity, POI price draw. We've got a bit of a confusing leg here, but we are in the premium and may come down to a discount. So let's go down to the 1 hour and see what that shows us to see if that gives us any other type of bias. Now onto the hourly, a similar picture of course. Again, the legs aren't super clear, for me at least. Right, so if I was to propose a leg from this point here to this high up here, because we swept liquidity there and broke this high, we're still within that leg in my opinion. We have, as you can see, broken down internally. So 15-minute structure will look a lot more bearish because we've broken below these lows. So we could see this as an internal leg here. We have imbalances above price here with an order block behind it on the 1 hour. So this is definitely an area here of possible resistance if we come back up to it that may push price lower again. So we'll have to bear that in mind. We are all mitigated here it seems, but it looks like we've got some buy side liquidity highs. So I'm guessing on a lower time frame, this may look like some kind of trend line. So this low here is still intact. If we break below this low and close beyond it, I think it will look like we are heading lower, at least to the discount of these price draws here. But again, nothing super clear in terms of POIs around where we are now. However, we have our POIs that we need to keep our eye on around this area here, as we know. So if price was to pull back up to there at any point, we could see what happens there as resistance. And if price continues to break down now, we can aim for these price draws. We have to be careful, of course, of this sell side liquidity here, because we could definitely see some kind of reaction coming from here. But in my opinion, this would also be a target for sell side because we took buy side liquidity on the higher time frame. So I think this does agree with the 4-hour bias that we were sort of getting, where we may head lower in price. Now, of course, we have to keep an eye on price to see if we do head higher up first toward these POIs up here and to take these buy side liquidity highs internally there. But we'll see that more on the lower time frame to see what price is doing. So again, to repeat, we have potential for bearish moves that we can be a part of, but also for the time being in price, we may be drawn bullish towards these POIs here on the 1 hour. So we can keep an eye on both sides and see what the lower time frame looks like. And DXY, of course, has the same order blocks and imbalances, which it may be drawn down to as well around this area here. And we've got those same price draws up into the premium around here on the 4-hour and 1 hour. So the lower time frame, 15-minute, will be quite important for direction. At the moment, this low is holding as well here. So let's go down to the M15 and see what that shows us for any opportunities today. So here on the M15, you can see we've got this bullish momentum coming into the market at London Open right now. The unfortunate thing is we kept these relative equal lows. So we've got this slightly higher low from here at the end of the Asia session, and we've got that bullish momentum coming from there. It would have been optimal if Frankfurt or the Open or somewhere here just swept that low and then broken structure. It would have been nice to have seen that sell side liquidity sponsorship on our side to then break this structure here, and we could aim for this pullback, going with the cycle of, you know, Asia being swept, heading for the other side. That would be nice. It does look like we're going to take the other side of the Asia session anyway with its own momentum. That may cause some sort of pullback. As I mentioned on the higher time frame, we do have some sort of liquidity trend line here above these highs to aim for, to go back into these 1 hour POI imbalance and order block areas that's up here. Now, because that sweep didn't happen, there's nothing super optimal for me at the moment with the current price action. That can change, obviously, depending on how price closes and sweeps above these highs. We could see price do this, right? When you take the Asia cycle now, we've taken the high of Asia, we've taken buy side liquidity internally here. If we then see a breakdown, we could pull back up to our order block on a low time frame. That's swept liquidity to the left, break of structure, and then now we can head for the other side of Asia and ultimately even these lows here as a sell side liquidity target. I think this is the better option than the long, because we have that buy side liquidity being swept, the break of structure, the cycle is also on our side, having taken the highs of Asia, possible inducement around here, lower time frame order block with imbalance here, and set our order stop loss just above the high to trade towards the other side of Asia and to continue with our order flow. We've got those equal lows there to target. We've got the buy side liquidity swept, break of structure, as I said, going with the order flow, and especially because we've got the higher time frame confluences on our side where we've taken that previous weekly high. We may head towards these sell side liquidity lows here, this structural low that I have this liquidity confluence on. So I think this is good, and this is a good option. Now to back up to the hourly for a moment, I'm just going to highlight this entire area here. So with that highlighted, I'll just drop down to the M5, seeing as we're working there. So back on the M5, we've got this 1 hour POI area here. Now it doesn't matter how far into it we go, but this is the higher time frame POY. So now this is something we may want to wait for. That will also be one of the negatives for this trade here, right? We have a 1 hour POY above this order here. So price may actually be aiming to be drawn into this 1 hour POY. So if price does that, we may want to see price climbing up into this POY. Now with the POY mitigated, then it may break down, right? So we've got higher time frame POY on our side. We will have swept one of our internal highs, mitigated this 1 hour POY, respecting it, and then now, just like we would on any other, we'll pull back to our lower time frame POY imbalance to then trade lower. Internal buy side liquidity swept, break of structure. We've got a higher time frame POY mitigated as well on our side with the current order flow and sort of trend, if you would say. Possible inducement during the pullback, and then we set our order stop loss just above the high to continue down from this resistance here. So I think these two are the better options than any long from around this area. The long does seem a bit risky depending on how price forms at the moment. So I'm probably favoring these shorts, as it does look like that's the direction to go with the high time frame liquidity that's been swept yesterday. So that's the opportunities I see. I hope you gained value from that. I hope it was clear. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.